It's Thursday, February 16th. Look, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news. Do we believe everything that the news is telling us, or is this a lot of misdirection? We got a shell game going on. We're going to talk about it tonight and tell you what we think about that. Welcome to the patio.
When I was 10, no, I didn't see the wrong kind of wish that I was in. I grew up, thought was living in my head, figured the life that I was living, I'd be better off dead.
Hey, welcome to the patio. I'm here with my normal crew tonight. Fortenberry, how are you this fine evening?
Oh boy, hydrating.
Yeah, no, while we wait, we hydrate.
That's right.
Thirsty? Besides being thirsty, how are you this evening?
I'm fine as frog hairs.
That's
Frog
fine.
hairs quite fine, aren't they? Gary, how are you, Gary?
I'm finer than a frog hair split 4 ways.
Ooh.
Did you find anything interesting in your endeavors this week?
No,
so far?
no, I have not found
I
super.
thought you found an AA chip. What was that you found?
Hey.
Hey, chip. That was a free beer chip.
Yeah, I
That
found
was
a
a free
free.
visit.
Yeah,
A little bit different than
Like
a beer chip.
Alcohol Anonymous.
I found a microbrewery chip that says "good for one beer today."
That man found a Chuck E. Cheese token.
So it'd be good
I
for
got a
one
bu-
Mountain Dew for you
Exactly. I mean, if they got Mountain Dew,
if they got the good beers.
if they got the good beer.
DW, how are you this evening? Look, DW doesn't look
Good.
grainy. He doesn't look like the
Bigfoot. I ain't a legend no
Bigfoot.
more.
He's no longer a legend. He's just DW. How are you this Thursday morning?
I'm good, man. Good to
He's
go.
good. All right, so a lot of stuff going on in the news, folks. A whole lot of stuff going on in the news. We got balloons still everywhere. I don't guess we really know that the last set of stuff was balloons. We've got train derailments. Now, all of a sudden, nobody was talking about it. We talked about it on Tuesday, and now it's everywhere. Everybody talking about what's going on in Ohio. We're going to touch on that a little bit. But there's some other interesting news that you're not hearing people talk about.
There's a bunch of stuff.
There's a
that
lot of
needs to
stuff
discuss.
going on.
Bunch
right
of
now.
stuff that these other things may just be a little bit of smoke and mirrors. What's your favorite story right now, Fortenberry? I know you got a bunch of them. What's your favorite one?
Epstein Island.
Epstein Island. So for those of you not familiar with it, there's some actually on Twitter. There's some releases that claim to have the actual list. Now, I don't believe that's the true list, but what is going to happen in the coming days is that the list will be released.
And this is the flight log. This is all it is a flight log.
Yep, it's
It
the flight
doesn't.
log.
It doesn't mean anybody did anything illegal. These
It
are
means you were
people-
on his jet and
You
went
were
there.
on the Lolita Express.
Well, I
The
don't-
who?
Yeah.
Lolita Express. That was the name of the jet.
Okay.
Are we on this now, or are we just discussing?
Well, I guess we're kind of on it. Yeah.
We can get on it now. Yeah, let's roll with it.
I
Let's
mean,
roll with it.
surely not everybody that went there did.
No, I
You know,
wouldn't
no.
think so. But the
Because he
list.
had different kinds of parties, I'm sure, right?
I wouldn't think all of them were rape parties.
Because, I mean, you might have friends that are swingers, but not everything's a swinger party, right?
right.
I'd be concerned with the people that went there like 15, 16 times though.
Well, like and a lot of these lists are, you don't know what's actually factual, which brings up another question. Are people who are involved in this putting out fake lists to just kind of,
Yeah.
what do they call it, the red herring?
What if your name's on it? We know what you would have been there for.
You ain't lying. I've been in the hors d'oeuvres.
You'd
It was
have been
just
there
a
for the
party.
food. For the party. Always there for
But
the
You've
like-
been
party.
looking for the brownies.
Okay, so, for example, well, I forget everybody's name. So they get in front of this mic. Kevin
Bill
Spacey.
Clinton.
Kevin Spacey.
I mean, it's already known what he's done.
Yeah, Bill Clinton's there for the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He ain't there for hors d'oeuvres.
He's there for whatever Epstein Island has, right?
So
Prince Andrew.
Space is always on the list, and there's people like him that there's hushed rumors about that it's not coincidence.
So we're sitting here worried about space aliens. I mean, let's be really, and for all practicality, in the last week they've talked about UFOs and aliens. You can't make this crap up, right?
Yeah.
We've got now this hasn't really made a lot of news. Some of the stuff we listen to has been talking about it, but there's evidence that Biden maybe blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. I saw it there on Twitter.
I'm 100%.
Well, but if he
think
did,
it,
he
dude.
may end up impeached. That could be a war crime.
Well,
Yeah.
talking about the UFOs, have you heard of the latest? They're saying now that they think it was just
a UFO blew up Nord Stream
an actual weather balloon that we sent a F-35 after.
for a $400,000 Sidewinder missile that blew up a
for
weather
a
balloon.
$100 balloon.
Well, but still. So you don't. All right. So think about that a minute. I heard that today.
Well, I
Could we
found
not
one,
just
remember?
shoot? Could we not just shoot at the balloon with a bullet? I mean, don't the plane? I'm ignorant to this.
We
Don't
can get
those planes
the old
have
Red Ryder
50
BB
cal?
gun.
So they say
Don't they have 50 cal weapons?
if it's a gas powered balloon, I guess is that the right way? The ones that like
I would
float
say all balloons are gas powered.
So I
well,
think-
no,
I'm gas powered too.
Hold on, aren't most of these balloons? Now you're like a chemist or whatever. Aren't most of these balloons filled with something? They float up, and when they hit the atmosphere, it causes some kind of reaction that keeps them filled.
I have no clue about these balloons. I know most balloons are filled with helium.
yeah,
Or
but-
hot air.
Okay, so hot air balloons.
Hot
That's what I
air,
was
But
yeah.
something about when they hit the atmosphere, they do something happens to them that basically keeps them inflated for longer.
But they say a hot air balloon is hard
have
is
no
hard to
idea.
shoot down.
That's probably really thick.
Because well, not just that, because of the way it's designed.
But a sidewinder missile?
What that you said,
Oh,
shoot
well,
it
that'd
down.
blow
yeah.
it up. That'd punch right
It didn't though, right? I mean, it kind of just said.
So a hot air balloon, I believe, doesn't operate like a helium filled balloon.
Okay,
so,
so-
like you punch a hole in it, it still has air, hot air, making it rise. It would just
Okay.
go. It would start.
All
But
right,
then
so,
it has a outlet to make it move a different way, basically. But it's still producing.
So we got a
I don't know.
balloon. We've got more than a balloon. We also got UFOs.
UFOs.
We've got something else we hadn't talked about. Russia had ships just off the coast of Hawaii that not many people even
And
know was out
Alaska,
there.
and apparently the
Alaska.
East Coast.
And the thing about those ships, they were zigzagging out there, and they just kind of appeared. We didn't even know they were there.
and there was a bomber too, right off the coast.
Coast of
Yeah.
Alaska, there was a
Yeah.
nuclear. Did I say it correctly? Nuclear, not nuclear. Nuclear.
You said it
Nuclear
wrong. You
sounds-
said it wrong to me.
Nuclear
did.
sounds
Okay.
better though.
See, thank you,
Nuclear.
Gary.
Nuclear.
Nuclear
It's a
does.
southern
It-
thing.
you know,
But
granted,
those
it's wrong,
bombers
but-
had nuclear capability. Yeah, you know, you got weird crap going on in China, but yet there's a few things nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about the Epstein list, which should be high on the list.
Well,
should be.
we know that's not going to be high on the list.
No, because they still won't release it.
I mean, what's crazy is we forget about places like Africa where we sent out a drone or something and killed all the, I can't remember which terrorist organization it is, but Al-Shabaab or something like that.
That sounds legit.
Al Shabaab, I can go with Al Shabaab.
You know, we got all these
Got
things
the
going on.
Al Sharpton.
Speaking
Al
of
Sharpton.
Al Shababas, we got Elon Musk. He's Tesla. He also got Starlink.
Did
that
you hear
he said he's shutting down Starlink for Ukraine. He will not allow his technology to be used to start World War III.
Okay, fair enough. He owns it.
He owns it. It's
They can do
his.
whatever they want. It's a
He will
private
not
business.
allow them to handle drones through there. I'm reading some stuff now where Putin and his generals are, they're like, hey, we're at war with the U.S. They've got to be the ones supplying Ukraine, or Ukraine couldn't have stood up to us like they've been standing.
Well, I mean,
up
we
to.
are.
I think it's obvious. For
Yeah, we said we
believe
are.
if we're not, World War III has got to be around the corner. We've been talking about it. We're in it and just not believing.
What's
it. I mean,
what's the
Cold War.
over under on World War III is starting in what's the over under?
I would say 6 months.
Ooh, that,
6 months.
I'd take the over on that.
Okay, so what keeps us from getting there?
I think and I-
Epstein Island they come out with the list, and Putin and Biden are on the list.
Oh, if that list comes out, we'll be in war. The next
Hunter's
day.
laptop has Biden and Putin.
is economic downslide from COVID kind of forcing people to war? It's where hey, our country's in a bad way. We need to do something drastic.
It could be because a lot of times speaking, chaos or the feeling of slipping in power forces people. I mean,
Okay, so and
look
it's
at
not
Germany post World War One.
I want to get all. We're going to come to all this.
Yeah,
but I'm
once
gonna
it
jump
starts
down
slipping, you
around
want
a
to
little
claw
bit.
and fight to keep
'Cause
every inch, right?
Here's a couple more stories that should be important that we're not talking about. The bird flu, right? The bird flu. New Zealand and Africa, the continent of Africa, has culled nearly half of their chickens. 50% of their chickens have been culled. The bird flu has already now transferred to mammals. I think it was otters, maybe, and then otter to otter transmission.
As long as you don't get bears like me.
Yeah. For real.
But otter to otter transmission is the big deal on this.
Poor Donnie.
Now, not only that, but have you guys ever heard of the Marsburg virus? It's one of the deadliest
I've heard of the
diseases.
Marsburg.
Kills 90% of its patients. Has no cure. There's an outbreak of that right now.
Marsburg. Is it like Ebola?
It's AIDS.
It's similar, I guess.
So it kills quick.
They're wanting to ramp up development of vaccines.
That hasn't gone
Look,
south.
show me a pandemic that has the death rate of Ebola, and I'll take a vaccine.
Have we already?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Have we already seen the future of warfare and it was covered up as something else?
I
It could
no
be
doubt
from the
we did.
balloons.
I mean, I'm
It
confident.
could be.
I'm
It could be.
confident this came from a potential weapon.
I mean, these balloons could have been floating higher.
China. You think
forever
China?
ago, right?
I think.
China.
I mean, my theory is China did create this, but it was not for warfare. Could have been used for warfare, but I think it was
Why would you create a virus then?
to kill it off the older population that you could not take care of.
I mean, the easiest thing, for them to depopulate,
Because they limited the number of children for how many years?
to reduce the population.
Like 4 generations.
4 generations. So now all the older people don't have enough people, younger people, which is their culture, to take care of the older people.
You also have more or less young, fit people to fight wars in future generations
Exactly.
because of that.
I mean, there's so few people that are built like me, and
So if we did, let's say we did go to war, you think there'll be support in the United States to enter into this Ukrainian war more than we already have? I mean, at home,
No.
we're getting beat up here, Tyler, at home, right?
No.
Eggs are 70% more today than they were a year ago. They actually cost more pound for pound than beef does right now, eggs.
So did we try to hold on? Are we helping Ukraine because our government saw the war coming and we need to hold it as a piece for later to use it?
I think we're helping
I don't
Ukraine
know.
because of financial ties between our
Probably
leaders.
President Biden.
And FTX.
And FTA.
But
But-
there's a lot of moving parts in that war.
So there's talk that Putin is preparing a new aerial attack on the Ukraine. He got fighter jets ready to go. So Ukrainians don't have air-to-air combat capability.
So here's the thing: if Russia
they?
if Russia begins to overtake Ukraine, what will our government do? Will they say, "Well, we tried," and sit back, or will they go all in?
I think those.
Well, that probably depends on what China's going to do next. Are they going to, how much are they willing to force the Taiwan?
Well, there's
thing?
evidence showing, though, that China's propping Putin and Russia up financially.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
a lot of
Oh, yeah.
and China's buying gold. They bought 1,500 tons of gold on the open market in the fourth quarter of last year. Why would you buy gold like that?
Well, China can fight through Russia just like we fight through
Well,
Ukraine.
Do you
and-
think they're trying to create an international currency?
They're trying to break away from the dollar.
There you go.
They're trying. I think that's. I think they're trying to break away
Yeah,
from the
but
dollar.
in
If
reality,
they break away, that creates that eliminates the U.S.'s stronghold on.
yeah, but this is
global
the
financial.
problem. The gold is no different than the dollar. It's a made up currency. It has no value if you don't put value on
well,
it.
technically,
True.
everything's that way.
Exactly,
Exactly.
except for ammo.
So what becomes the global currency? Oil?
Ammo.
I don't know. I think it could be oil.
Beefaroni.
It could be electricity if the EMPs start going off. But what becomes the global currency? Is it Bitcoin? Because you know what? Nobody controls Bitcoin.
No, which is even actually more concerning.
That nobody controls it.
I think FTX sort
I
of.
mean, I think
I
that's
control
why,
about this much of it.
I think that's why they want to squash it so hard.
I think so too. Guys, we're in some weird times. Look, 4 years ago, if somebody had said we would shut 3 years ago, that we would shut the country down on a virus that kills very few people, kids not injured by it, we'd shut our schools down. We would all walk around wearing masks. And here we are 3 years later. We got a president that's incompetent. We got a vice president that's worse,
Incompetent.
maybe incompetent.
Our
Donald
president
Trump
can't.
was president. I mean, look, that alone really ought to make people's eyebrows raise. But Donald Trump was president.
Boy, but things were sure better at the time.
Policy-wise, it's great, but it doesn't make sense if you look historically.
Look,
or
there had to be a
politically
better candidate out there.
that he's president, but he was the right candidate at the right time from a
Yeah.
populist standpoint. He just obliterated his opponents on the campaign stage in front of the millions of people.
And it was nice to see.
Oh yeah.
Well,
He also
really
did the
was.
same to Biden, except Biden was able to find some other ways to win.
Mm-hmm.
so everybody saw Nikki Haley announced today.
They
Nikki
find out who
Haley
won
announced.
won the Super Bowl yet? It was in Arizona. I hadn't heard if we heard the final count.
Oh, we got to get
What's
back
final
to the
score?
Super Bowl.
Pat
we gotta
Mahomes
talk
may need to hold off on
Damar
all the
Hamlin.
celebrating.
Let's talk about Nikki Haley because there's some more interesting things about Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What do you got about Nikki Haley there, James?
Just she announced for her candidacy.
Mm-hmm.
She is a viable option. I'm not a huge Nikki Haley fan. She did great. She's from South Carolina, isn't
South Carolina. She's of Indian heritage.
Is she?
Yep. Her
Okay.
parents were
Like you mean
no,
or dot?
yeah. that-
Okay.
But her parents
Third eye.
Yeah,
came here.
feather
She,
and
Third eye.
She's like a surgeon or something too. She's like
Dang.
smart.
And
Oh,
she
she's
was
super smart,
what was
super
she for?
good looking.
She was Secretary of the UN.
She came
Yeah.
from Trump.
United Nations.
She came from Trump.
Secretary of State? Was she Secretary?
No,
of State?
she was a UN.
representative of the United Nations.
She worked for Trump.
Ambassador to the UN, I guess is what they call that.
Yeah, she came
What's
from.
the dang? What's that guy's name?
DeSantis.
No, he was running for. He was trying to get into the presidency when Trump was in. He came to West Memphis. He's a black man. He's like a neurosurgeon.
Ben Simmons.
Ben Carson.
Ben Carson.
Ben-
Ben Carson. Ben Carson.
Good dude.
He's a smart dude.
Dude, I
man.
like Ben Carson.
Yeah, a smart guy.
They
man.
talked about him today on something, and they said, "Look, he's a great candidate. He was just too nice. He couldn't handle the
He
fight.
is way too
He
nice.
couldn't handle the infighting. The dude was bright. He was good.
He needs to go back to the private sector. He does not belong in politics. He's just
a good candidate, but
He-
he just
he-
wasn't right.
no.
He was really down
he
to
would
earth.
be a hell of a president.
I would have voted for the guy that was doing Godfather Pizza. Who's that guy?
Oh,
Kane.
He died of COVID.
Godfather.
He
did. That's right.
He was
died
for
of COVID.
he was
And
for
they killed him
flat
off.
tax. Flat tax, 9% everything.
Herman.
Heck
Oh,
yes.
yeah, Herman
Yes,
Cain.
he
yeah.
was.
Herman Cain. Kane. I knew it was Kane.
9% tax for everything.
He got
Let's
his
go.
999. It was a 9% flat tax or 9% sales tax, and
So,
yeah,
everything was.
something
He got it from the Sims video game though.
So even though we may be at war, we are not legally, I guess, at war because really you can't go to war without support from Congress, right? They have to vote. The president cannot take us to war without support from Congress.
No.
But the House committee is going to do war games considering the China invasion of Taiwan. So they're going to war game it. They're going to go through the scenarios and see what that might look like. So, look, they're going to attempt this at some point, especially if Russia can successfully seize more of the Ukraine. What would stop China from trying to take Taiwan?
Look, I would gladly give up Ukraine to keep Taiwan free.
So,
That's
so-
interesting.
I
hadn't even thought about that.
Taiwan is far more valuable to
I
us.
hadn't even thought
It
about
is.
that.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
how I was going to ask that question
Yeah.
earlier. What's prioritized, Ukraine or Taiwan?
100% Taiwan.
Well, I mean, we all know the importance of Ukraine. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
Right? It's mainly it's a food source.
It's a food source. We don't need a food source. But
Forgive-
what we do need is chips.
Forgive my ignorance. Taiwan, I was going to say, is Taiwan a UN nation? But no, because it's not recognized as a nation.
It's funny you say that because today I got on the Google machine and started going through different search engines to see what recognized Taiwan as a country. So, Encyclopedia Britannica recognizes them as a country. Wikipedia does not. There was,
Really?
Yeah, there were
We ought to go
several-
change that. Can't we go change
You
that?
can.
Yeah, we can't
Yeah.
change it on Wikipedia.
There were several that does. Oh, my phone's hooked up. I played with the chat GPT today. I want to go in there and see what they say. If get on and see if they say they're a country.
I'm going to do that right
it.
now.
So, Taiwan, they're what are they? Computer chips. They're really big.
Anything
computer chips.
electronic.
I'm
right?
sure it's
Toys.
all kinds of stuff.
They make those little soul cards.
they,
that
make
nobody
bunch of,
wants.
they make a bunch of
Oh,
toys.
yeah.
And
They make
everything.
kids.
They probably make a ramen.
Probably make ramen
Almost
noodles.
guaranteed.
You know,
Ramen's delicious, even though it's terrible.
and
food.
not to mention, Taiwan also gives Japan a ally in the Pacific.
Pacific.
Well, and think about all the bases those places supply us. The South Koreas, all these different places. They supply us places to
That's
keep
jumping
people.
off points,
And that
yes.
matters.
Yeah, I mean, if a conflict occurred, we have people already on site.
Well, why do you think China builds islands out in the middle of the ocean? It's because they need places like that, right? They need places that are closer.
And
to
they will
launch
they
from.
will stick a million people on an island size.
Million.
How should I ask this? Is Taiwan
Is Taiwan a country?
a country? Did I spell it right? Let me see.
Didn't talking about search engines? Didn't Bing come out with a new search engine that like asks you questions and stuff like that?
I
I
use
didn't even know
DuckDuckGo,
Bing
man.
was still a thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Bing is actually doing it.
Yeah.
Bing is doing it also. So here, this is, okay, boy, you talk about woke. The status of Taiwan as a country is a complex and controversial issue. Taiwan considers itself to be a sovereign state with its own government, economy, and borders. However, the People's Republic of China considers Taiwan to be a part of its territory and has not recognized Taiwan as a separate country. The international community is divided on this issue.
So,
So who cares what China thinks?
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, if Taiwan does not,
They're their own country. They're supporting themselves.
Yeah,
They're, they have their own thing going right now.
well, what made me think about this was I saw a video of John Cena apologizing to China for recognizing Taiwan as a country. You ain't heard that?
Man, if I was John Cena, I'd have told him, like, Can't see me.
Can't see
That's
me.
what I'd have told him.
So so now they're calling him John China.
John China.
Who is this?
John Cena.
You got LeBron
You
China.
got LeBron.
Yeah, I mean
King
it's the
China.
same. It's the same.
Hey,
thing.
on the flip side though, John Cena does do the Make-A-Wish. He's like the most. He's the biggest contributor or whatever to Make-A-Wish. Like, he's fulfilled.
He's
the most
also a
wishes.
bootlegger to China.
But that's
right.
still pretty cool though. So is LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean another reason not to like LeBron.
Exactly.
Oh, he's a flopper.
I mean he's a flopper, but he also backs a country that has slavery.
That's right.
This man done played
And-
63
and,
years to score all these points, calling himself the GOAT.
And concentration camps, do they not?
Yeah, but Wiggers are full. The concentration camps are full of Wiggers.
They are. True story.
Yeah, China is a complex situation. A very complex.
Well, I'm just gonna say with all these war games,
Well, they're communists.
yeah, with all these war games, I am excited that we do have Matthew Broderick as an American, so we're good.
So while we're talking about China,
Good reference. I got that.
Got that, Jamie.
y'all
Good
want
job.
to hear something funny?
Pound that.
So China's putting out propaganda. They're known for their propaganda. They said that the Ohio train crash, Ohio Chernobyl, as it mocks the U.S. for caring too much about spy balloons and not worried about the real problems going on.
They have a good point, but go ahead.
That
Yeah.
spy balloon probably dropped a bomb on the train or something.
So the Chinese Foreign Ministry mocked the U.S. on Tuesday for its concerns over an alleged Chinese spy balloon while a toxic chemical leak from a train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. They're not wrong here, right? I mean, look, until we talked about that day, it wasn't there. Now, all of a sudden, after we talked about it, well, I don't think we can take credit. We'll have it many listeners, but it was showing up on all the primetime news channels, news outlets. And it's a pretty big deal. Look, this thing there in Ohio is leaking into the Ohio River. You brought this up the other day, Fortenberry. You said it's a major tributary. It's the largest tributary to the Mississippi River. But it's also, there's this huge basin of aquifers that it also feeds off into. I mean, you think as much volume of water that is, that this will dilute rather quickly, but it's still got people thinking.
So
It's got
is
people
it an
seriously
accident? Maybe
I don't
it's
know.
not.
Well, burning it off wasn't.
They said the train had known to have a problem with its brakes. It was outdated. And
So let's haul like some of
Yep,
the
no
most
shit.
toxic chemicals
they
ever on
kept
it.
fighting having to spend the money to upgrade the brakes,
Yeah.
and they think it contributed to it.
Mike-
Is that what you heard, Skoff?
That's crazy.
No, I was just listening to I forget what I was listening to today, but they were talking about when they set it ablaze. You know, all the chemicals ablaze because they're worried about explosion.
Yeah.
That when they actually set it ablaze, the chemicals that were released from the fire were actually chemicals that were banned by the Geneva Convention.
Phosgene gas,
Phosgene,
hydrogen
phosgene-
chloride.
Yeah, all that stuff.
so-
So it's safe. Yeah, sure.
I brought this up yesterday in our text message, our group. So anybody who's ever worked with a duct or done heat and air, phosgene is painful. You smell it, and it burns your face and your nose, and then you stop smelling it because it burns your olfactors.
Yeah.
And then you have no idea. Then you 10 minutes later, you got a headache.
They were talking to governor or senator of Ohio on the radio the other day. I think it was not Ben Shapiro, but
He's the governor of Ohio.
no, not him. They were
Ben Shapiro?
but it was on a show. It was on a show.
Okay.
But they were talking to him, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I've been there. I was there the other day. Everything was fine. Didn't smell anything. Everybody should go back." And then the guy's like, "Well, would you set up camp next to the fire site or whatever?" He's like, "Well, no, I wouldn't." And then he had a bunch of people come on and say like, "I went back to my shop and went to work, and I couldn't stay for like 5
Well, you
minutes."
see the video of the lady where chickens died.
All her chickens died.
All
The
her
dude were raising foxes.
Yeah.
He had the one fox that died, and the other were sick. The fish, there's like thousands of fish that are
Releasing
dying.
toxic chemicals, you know? I mean,
If Trump had been in office when this occurred, all the media would be there. All the AOC would have a flag.
Have
out
you
there.
heard anything about this from our dear leader?
No.
nah.
I don't.
I haven't heard a word.
I mean, somebody
Maybe
should
he's
be
an
like,
alien.
hey, maybe this is a national disaster and we need to assist.
I know
kind of thing.
Butt Jet went down there and
Butt jet.
I like
Did
the
he actually
Booty
go?
jet.
But he didn't go at
Booty
first.
jet.
He didn't go
Booty
later.
Our transportation secretary.
so they quit monitoring the environment
and left.
They
They
said
quit
they said
monitoring
it's good. No, they
Look,
Oh,
yeah.
I hope we're blowing all this out of proportion.
Here,
Okay.
here, come back and take this
Now,
booster too.
one thing though, so there's been all these other little leaks everywhere, but do you know how many in any given year, how many derailments there are?
I do because I heard it, but
I'm going
I
to
was
guess.
shocked.
I'm gonna say.
Take a guess, D-Dub.
So nationwide,
Yep.
is it a big number, small number?
No, you got to
Yes.
guess. You got to guess.
Dang it.
All right, Gary, go.
Nationwide, 17.
17 total.
I'm going low.
All right,
I'm gonna go with 7. That was my initial thought. 7.
try over 1,000.
Oh, wow, that's
Yes.
that's
They
pretty
said there's
wild.
almost what they say, almost 100 a week or.
Yeah, it's 52,
Dang, that's-
yeah, it's a huge number.
That's pretty wild.
I'm gonna ask another.
It is.
I'm gonna ask another question. How many of those did they get down to why it was derailed or how it was derailed?
Probably all of them. I mean, they do investigations.
But
From them
They
damn
do
kids
investigate.
putting pennies on the
The
tracks.
damn penny.
I was told that my entire life. But we don't hear about so many of them because like one car falls off.
Well, and even
Or-
though maybe it's hazardous chemicals, it may not be anything deadly, or they know how to handle it, and maybe this is normal. Maybe we hadn't had something to this magnitude, but it at least got us all looking. Maybe it's the old switcheroo.
I'm curious why they didn't foam it.
Well, we have wrecks
It's
on
'cause
the
of what it
interstate
was.
all the time with hazardous chemicals, right? And they just go in and do what they're supposed to do to clean it up.
Yep.
I mean, I don't understand. They're worried about an explosion. Why they set it on fire?
So
That makes no sense. To me.
all right. So what I was
It
heard
was a
today.
contained explosion.
Now, what I heard today, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'd heard that vinyl chloride actually evaporates quickly, so quickly that they thought it would cause it to boil, because that's what happens when things evaporate. It's an exchange of energy, and it would cause
It would heat up
a blast in the tank, and that's why they felt they needed to burn it. That it would
because
be
if
much
it
more
begins
controlled.
to expand
Yeah.
inside something
Now,
compressed,
this is
it's
why
gonna
you don't
explode.
believe
So-
it.
this-
Now, I'm gonna blow your
But
mind.
this
though.
decision was made by the owner of the train.
It was there.
and the local
they
EPA.
suggested it. Yes, but
That's
check
a-
this.
That's
Check
a
this out.
terrible.
Did you guys see the picture with the mushroom-looking cloud, the black mushroom?
Yeah.
Do you know there was also a coal train beside this
Yeah.
train, and they claim that's why it's black. It's burning black is because of the coal.
Because of cold train.
So coal,
mean,
burning coal causes acid rain, right?
Cold train.
Sulfur into the atmosphere, sulfuric acid.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, it's just weird.
But you
It's
talk
just
about,
weird.
yeah.
Switching gears on the balloon. Did you? I just thought this when we was talking a minute ago. Did you hear that our government has came out and announced that they actually were tracking that balloon from the time it left China?
Like, why even let it get?
Does that
here?
make you? Does that make it better?
No.
Does that make it better?
So once it got over Montana, oh, we can't shoot it down now.
Like, I
You
mean,
know what?
Can't we just make it have an accident out there somewhere?
Y'all know there's a new movie, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. They're serial killers. You should have heard of this. It's
What? This
you haven't seen
awesome,
this?
Though.
Winnie the Pooh and Blood and Honey.
That's kind
So
of
I thought
I
you guys
like
had
that
heard of
name,
it. All right,
dude.
I'm gonna tell you about it, but maybe it was Winnie the Pooh's balloon they were tracking. That I'm gonna look this up.
Winnie the Pooh.
You haven't heard of this?
Blood and
blood
honey.
and honey.
Winnie the Pooh. Let's see.
Does
Blood
he
and
sound
Honey.
the same? If he doesn't sound the same, it's going to ruin it.
Blood
Look,
and honey.
here's the premise. Okay,
He's-
Winnie the Pooh is a serial killer.
Okay.
Yeah, the first draft of the movie that became Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Hold on, let me get down here.
Like, is it eating cereal?
He must have lost the Robbins kid. What's
Well,
his
what
name?
it is, it's actually Christopher Robin grows
Christopher
up
Robin.
after being, part of this bear. It's his figment of
So-
his imagination, and he uses the bear. He dresses up as him, goes kill people.
Oh, this is. I kind of like it.
You know, but they say every character in Winnie the Pooh is a social disorder.
It is, yeah. With
Oh, really?
Eeyore, depression, and
Yeah,
stuff
you
like
got depression, you got
Tigger with
ADD,
ADD.
ADHD, whatever it is. Pooh is
Well, Eeyore is definitely the depressed
depression,
one.
yeah.
Piglet's anxiety or something
Yeah,
like that.
Piglet's anxiety.
And Pooh is probably eating to handle
eating
his
disorder.
problems.
It
Yeah.
is.
Speaking of social disorders, so the CDC announces, you guys probably aren't, I think this has always been the case, but record high rates of sadness and suicide among teen girls.
That's insane with all this TikTok and stuff. You know?
Female high school students were more likely than their male peers to drink alcohol and use drugs.
I'm gonna say this. So, I told y'all before we was on air. I've been working at a college. It was especially the girls. I saw the guys doing it too, but they could not walk past the building I was working at and not look at the reflection in the windows.
Is it social media? Is it
It's
their
social
obsession with
media.
social media, with TikTok, with all those things?
So we go to these volleyball tournaments. I'm sure you see it at cheer stuff too, and you see all the little girls doing TikTok stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, my daughter thankfully isn't into it, and I don't have anything in the
Oh,
world
mine
against it.
does all the little arm dances.
Well, now
Yeah.
Jamie loves some TikTok.
But I mean, you see them
I don't
all.
think
It's
so.
like any of their spare time's filled up with doing those things together to put a TikTok out.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
So-
it's different.
So it's really difficult to grasp. We now these kids have more things available to them than we ever could have dreamt of. You know, we actually had to call friends and go meet them down the street to go actually play ball or something. And my son basically has a whole room full of friends he plays with every night if he wanted to. They're just virtual. They're all, he knows all of them or most of them, and they interact. You know, we've had kids over here before want to go home so that they can play together when they're at the same stinking place.
Like, my son will come over here and bring a Switch so he can play with Sam while he's over here.
Yeah, they want to play in the same room, but they don't really want to play together. It's a strange time. And so our kids sadder, I don't know if they're sadder, but I don't know that they're taught how to deal with these things. They're not taught to have the mechanism tools. And look, as simple as it is, everybody gets a trophy is doing nobody a favor.
Nope.
No,
not being able to deal with failure.
Failure does a lot with growth in your youth. I mean,
If
you don't ever fail, then there's something out there you can be successful in, but you're going to fail at certain things. Not going to be good at everything. And you're not bad at everything either.
Well, like one of my favorite stories, and I'm going to tell a story about Donnie's kids. I hope you don't mind. But
Dang.
when his daughter did not make the volleyball team, I thought, well, that's one of the greatest things I've ever heard. That she just said, I'm going to go out there and work harder. You know,
No, my daughter's a phenomenal volleyball player.
yeah, I mean, but, you know, not everybody can make it.
And some kids would have quit.
Yeah, and instead of quitting and giving up, she just said, I'm going to go work harder.
Yeah, I'm going to work harder. Yeah, exactly right. So, you know, we're talking about woke culture a little bit. We're talking about this. Have you heard that, according to people like me, people that are diagonally challenged, horizontally challenged, you know, those people with big bones, that the word obese is as a fit, not to me personally, I could care less, but the word obese is considered
Did you
now
say
as
horizontally challenged.
horizontally challenged. The word obese is now looked at as the N word for people of color. Is that not just absurd?
Obese, please.
Obese, please.
I mean, what in the hell is going on? I mean, you know, we're sitting here, we talk about Lizzo a lot. I actually happen to like Lizzo, probably because we're similar.
Why are you looking at me?
We're similar.
She's talented. She's just.
Oh my gosh! Let's get off.
Because ever
Lizzo.
since we mentioned Lizzo, you've been sending big girl TikToks.
That's because that's what he likes.
Oh, that one girl big.
That's what's on his algorithm. That's
Maybe you only sent one, but it felt like a lot.
Well, there was a lot to look at.
He was actually looking for mashed potatoes.
Like I saw this video.
I didn't even click on them.
I saw this video. This girl, big old girl, she falsely accused 15 men of rape. Like one of them went to jail.
Oh, jeez.
Look, somebody put in the comments. They said, to be fair, it's probably a 15-man job.
Holy crap!
Now, Jamie, that's terrible. It wasn't real though. It wasn't true.
No, it was a true story. Yeah.
Oh, it was true.
Yeah, one man did a couple years in prison. They sentenced her to 10 years.
That's terrible. You probably just got us banned. So,
Do you think it has anything to do with us living in this imagination world where you can be whatever you want? So if somebody actually scientifically gives you a label, you're upset with it.
Well, I saw a woman in they were doing a discussion, and a woman called the police because somebody told her she was obese.
Okay.
so they're treating it like pronouns, right?
Man,
So
I wish I could have been the cop that went to that call.
As a member of the obese community, I feel that we should be mad at folks stealing our pronouns.
So are you a obesiite? What do y'all call yourself?
That's offensive. Jamie.
Obesian.
That's offensive.
Obese.
That's offensive. But we should be mad. Look,
Jamie ain't skinny.
No,
sitting
look,
over here
look.
making-
Only people of size. Only people of size. What we consider ourselves.
POS is a piece of shit.
Only us people of sizes.
about spit my
Should,
drink.
only people of size like myself should be able to use the pronouns like they, we, and us. And you folks out there stealing my pronouns are
So
offending
Jamie,
me.
you're in a moderate realm.
So look, you know how like
We are non-binary. We're decimal.
you know like if there's a black person that's real light skinned, they'll say they're white adjacent. I'm thin adjacent.
No, you do not. You keep the O word out of your mouth, skinny asses. Look, here's what's next.
Jamie, you
LGBT.
become one of the skinny people.
LGBTO.
Look, I'm telling you now, if they put the O, I'm freaking losing weight. I ain't gonna be part of the LGBT.
That's the motivation he needs.
Yeah. Oh,
The
Lord.
LGBTO.
No.
No, the Q's still there.
I'm telling y'all now, you get the O in with that, I'm losing weight. I'm gonna be a skinny ass. I'm done with this shit. That's
the
it.
LGBTQO. Plus.
Oh,
It'll be.
I mean, what's
oh.
next? What the hell's next?
You gotta
I mean,
say,
really.
oh.
Next thing you know, the
I'm
homeless.
colorblind. I'm
Gary
I
and
was
his
the CD
homeless.
in there.
homeless.
Gary and his homeless clan.
No. What is it? It's not homeless no more. What is it called?
Unhomed.
Unhoused.
Gary and the unhoused. Speaking of the unhoused, so our girl, what's the Arkansas
Lizzo.
governor?
Huckabee Sanders.
Huckabee Sanders. There's another bill that would cut public assistance availability time in half in the state of Arkansas.
Public assistance.
Oh,
okay.
and by the way, look, while we're talking about Arkansas, y'all want to listen in Tuesday, tell your teacher friends, we're doing a real deep dive into Huckabee Sanders and the what's going on with schools, teachers. Tell all your teacher friends. We've got some really interesting information that we think you'd want to hear. We've reached out to the Secretary of State, waiting on a response. Hopefully we'll get it by Tuesday. But tune in on Tuesday. We're going to tell you what we know. But back to this bill. This bill would cut public assistance availability time in half. It's being considered by Arkansas lawmakers. Under current Arkansas law, able-bodied adults can be placed on public assistance for 2 freaking years. No wonder we got so
Wow.
many fat asses like myself.
So you can go be on it for 2 years, go catch a job for a little while, and then get on it again for
Yep.
another 2 years.
I would expect
wild,
that that's
man.
the case. The legislation states that currently more than half of all recipients have been on the program for longer than 18 months.
How much assistance do they get?
This is why
Well, it's based on.
Oh, I mean, sometimes they give you a house and
we
food-
have a
food
shortage of
stamps.
workers. Now, I know y'all
We
just
do.
joined the unworked
Yeah,
or the
I'm
unemployed, unworked.
Friday.
But anybody that has employees or looking for employees, it's tough out there right now to find people who can pass a drug test, to find people that want to work and that will come to work and last longer than a week or two. These folks get in the door or almost in the door and then ghost you. It's
You
the
know what's
weirdest damn
crazy
thing. I've
is
never seen that before.
Some places now won't require a drug test for certain positions, right?
Well, isn't because they ghost you
Just because they can't hire people.
they just have to show that they're applying for jobs, right?
Yeah, you don't have to get a job.
you
You
don't-
just have to
exactly.
prove you're looking.
Like I tell
Exactly.
you, is for the construction industry, like we seldom hire people at Christmas time because when you get November, late November,
We get layoffs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff
well, no, you have people that come in that just want to work long enough to get a few checks and then they
to
quit.
get a tax return.
Well, they get tax return, but also just have a little spare money.
Have
for
spare
Christmas.
money to buy Christmas. You also
Yeah, and they'll quit, and then or get fired because they'll stop
We
showing
have people
up.
that'll work just long enough to make just enough money to get a really nice tax return because they've got it figured out, and then they'll just quit.
I've not heard that one before.
No, man, they'll get that
You know,
tax return. They'll live off of
I
it.
tried to
basically.
draw unemployment one time. You know, you can draw partial unemployment. I didn't know that. So we were only working.
They didn't want to give you crap, did they?
Well, I was working another company I was with. I was working 1 or 2 days a week. And I went to the office, sat down. They did all the paperwork. The lady said, she told me, she said, you probably won't even want to call in for this. It was going to be $13 a week.
Well, and as somebody,
$13.
you would think though, as somebody that's worked their whole life, never been on it before, they would support you more
Yeah.
because you have skills to go back into the workforce.
While we're talking about this, there's a story I happened across, and I had mixed feelings about it, but I want to get you guys' take on this, right? Here's the headline. An undocumented worker was able to pay his rent because he got $2,000 as part of a UBI, which is Universal Basic Income Program, that will now be permanent for Coloradoans. So when you read that, what's your first thoughts when you hear that headlines? Because after I read it, I'm going to give you a little more take about it.
Sounds like they're giving free money to illegal aliens.
or money to someone that's not actually paying any taxes.
Can I just identify as like Hispanic?
So
Like from Mexico?
So that was my initial thought too, but let me tell you the story about this fella. So he actually had a job working. He was working, I think, it was like a feed place. And he lost his job, and his family was about to be kicked out. And he wasn't eligible for any of those other things, right? Mm-hmm. And he got this $2,000, and it allowed him to catch up and get back on top and get back to work, probably doing jobs that Americans didn't want to do in the first place.
I don't necessarily hate that.
See, I didn't either.
No, like I
it was
support
like I don't have a problem with someone taking $2,000 to help them get by. That I don't have a problem. But the story we just talked about, where some able-bodied, this was a key, right? Able-bodied American for 18 months has been on the Arkansas teats, which is coming out of our pockets.
Don't complain about a Hispanic guy coming over here taking your work if you don't want to get out and work.
Well, me and Donnie have both worked with a lot of Hispanic guys.
Hardest working people.
And,
they work circles around.
know,
me
I mean,
and
this
him.
guy, he was so grateful, and he didn't want more money. He wanted to talk about what this how that $2,000 helped him. You give $2,000 to them other 18, them other people we were just talking about for 18 months. What do? You're going to buy a TV and go out and eat lobster tails. Yep. This guy didn't do that.
Honestly, when I worked in narcotics, we had people that we knew got a check every month, and they would literally buy drugs for resale. They would turn that money the government gave them into 5 times that.
I got a question.
So, why go to work?
Here's another question. Why to go to work? You got this undocumented worker getting all this money, right? I
wouldn't call it all this.
Okay, but he's getting money. All right, you get a person who lives in America, gets that job. How much money are they actually bringing home? I guarantee you half of that. So why go to work?
Well, now hold up.
Well, now I'm sure this guy's paying taxes. I'm sure they're holding taxes out. Most of the time, they have to.
Okay.
Most of the time, they're paying taxes and never get the returns.
Okay.
Most of the time,
the bulk of illegal workers here, they put
taxes
down,
are held out.
Well, they put down 4 or 5 dependents to get as little taxes held as they can.
How is that even possible?
What do you mean?
Now that's the question we should ask.
How is that even possible? An undocumented worker is paying taxes.
Well, because it's held on the check.
That's
how.
Yeah, but what Gary's saying is they shouldn't be. They should not be able to employ an undocumented
tied to
worker.
your ID, which is your social security number.
Yeah.
Where's their social
It
security
depends on how they're paid too.
No,
there's a whole lot.
I've been to the place where they buy them at.
I don't know. You've been there.
They contract those things.
My dad's went and picked them up from coyotes before.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, so that one had. I got
really, like a lot of people, the goal of your like a lot of people like to get a return, right? But I think honestly, the goal should be that you don't owe anything, you don't get anything back because you got the most money all year.
I heard
we turned it into a savings.
I heard a
account.
lady complain. She said, "How am I only get $300 back, and these other people getting $8,000?" Well,
you got more throughout the year, more than likely.
You kept more of your check.
Yeah, that's.
Did you know technically? I heard that you can email or send a request to the government to get your interest back from the government that you overpaid for, because that's what they do. They earn interest.
When you do that,
I'll let you
let us know, please.
I will.
I got an update on something. This actually blew my mind. So last week we talked about the Arizona rancher that had killed the illegal person crossing.
Yep.
He's denying he killed that person. He said that the Mexican whose body was found on his property 1.5 miles from the border said he just fired warning shots into the air to smugglers carrying AK-47s and don't know how that man got killed.
Well, a bullet that goes up in the air must come down.
What, the guy shot on top of the head?
I mean, you got smugglers who are probably untrained carrying AK-47s.
They could have killed each other.
Friendly fire happens.
They could have done that too.
I bet more than it happens. I bet it wouldn't surprise me that they're more likely to have killed this person. But just interesting that story. And that man's still in jail. $1 million bail, 73 years old. There's
$1 million is excessive
for people with AK-47s on his property.
We got lots of problems in this.
I'll drop
country.
you too.
What else you guys want to talk about? I got other things, but I'm kind of running out of steam here. What else
you
you guys
said
want
something
to talk
about we have more on Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, we're talking about.
Oh, thank you, Super Bowl.
Hamlin.
That's the part. Yeah. So Pat Mahomes, he was the MVP of the Super Bowl. His wife come out.
All right, well, he threw for like 200 yards.
No, 181.
3 touchdowns.
Get out of
But
here.
his wife, who I don't know about y'all, but I think everybody's sick of Brittany Mahomes and what's his brother's name?
Mr. Mahomes.
Little Pat. I don't know.
I don't know, but he's
Pat
way too old to be acting
TikTok
like
Pat.
he is. TikTok Pat.
TikTok Mahomes.
But she come out demanding an apology
From who?
from people who doubted that they could win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, get out.
Well, first off, they
woman.
didn't win.
The refs won.
Well, no, I'm just saying she didn't do shit.
Oh, the NFL won. Okay.
She came out demanding that. We talked about that but then there was something else occurred Super Bowl night. Damar Hamlin, if you guys remember, he's the guy, the safety
The one that died.
from Buffalo that died on. He died on the field of play.
He died twice.
Jamie talking about he's still dead though.
Yeah, I think.
But there were a couple controversial things. First off, he showed up. He was thanking God initially. There was
What's
a lot
up with all
everybody
the
prayers.
Symbolism, man?
The symbolism. That's where I was headed on this jacket he had on. A lot of people considered it blasphemy. It actually showed Jesus, and actually a lot of people considered it made fun of Jesus.
Well, it was a jacket that was designed by some guy for Japan and Travis Scott. Travis Scott,
right?
Who promotes Travis Scott?
So, do you think he knew what he had on?
Yes.
Do you think though that he? Do you really
He
think
looked
he
at
realized?
it. Would you have worn it?
I don't know.
I would not have.
But
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
have either.
I don't know.
think the whole thing's probably blown out of proportion.
Probably so, but I wouldn't have worn the jacket.
He seemed
At first, I thought it was kind of cool. Then
Well,
I
I mean-
realized what it was, and I was like,
Well, I
oh,
mean, some
okay.
people could think of that as like I'm representing
Yes.
Christ. Yes, it's
I
artistic,
could see it.
Yeah,
but
Jesus looked like he'd been had the hell beat out of him,
So-
which he had.
and
but,
looked drugged
Well, he
out too.
had.
but I mean, it didn't look like a.
hey,
Now-
what?
He had a rainbow grill. Now that
He had a
was
rainbow like vampire like teeth, like they were sharp, like edgy teeth.
So there's something I've seen a few pictures of something printed on this side of the jacket, and I can't.
It said, "I'm not the real Demar."
That's not what it
that's
said.
it said.
That's not what it said, but I can't tell
That was on
what
the side
it
of his neck,
says
Jamie.
because it's always partially covered.
It said
So I am curious about what that says because it may tell us more about what the jacket represents.
So, along those same lines, DeMar Hamlin, he was interviewed by
Michael Strahan.
Michael Strahan. Thank you, Skoff.
You're welcome.
He was interviewed by Michael Strahan in probably, I guess, really the first interview since he died on the grand stage there. And his response was quite troubling because Strahan asked him point blank, and he had to be coached on what to ask beforehand.
Oh yeah.
He asked him, said, "So what are the doctors saying? What caused this to occur?" And it was crickets, and they really played it up as a long amount of silence. And he
Yeah, it was a good
concluded
5
with,
seconds, 10 seconds of silence.
I'm not ready, or I can't talk about
Yeah,
it.
you can't.
I don't want to, or we can't discuss that. Or,
I think that one's kind of blown out of proportion too. I think everybody jumped on it's the COVID. They told him all of a sudden that because he got the COVID vaccine. I mean that's a stretch. I think.
I don't.
I
Think
don't.
I
think
don't-
Stretch.
Well, I don't know that it's because they told him he got the COVID vaccine. I think that they want to make sure that they don't imply that it had anything to do with the COVID vaccine.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what.
We've had some more
so
deaths also.
Basically, what you're saying is you think that DeMar was being really careful about what
Yeah.
he said because of the repercussions that could come back
Look,
on him.
if
I think that's
if there
what
was
happened.
something they knew 100% that was not related, he would have said it.
I agree.
Well, all the people told you just get hit in the chest, it makes your heart stop.
And
Right? You get hit just
How many
right,
millions of hits have we had?
bro. They
as
get
a
stuck in the
result?
NFL.
Yeah,
I mean, NFL's been around a long time.
I hate to tell you that was a wide receiver and it wasn't a stick.
No, he deflected most.
He
of the hit.
deflected most
Yeah.
of it. It was not a stick.
But I mean, even when you get hit, I've been hit. My heart ain't never stopped.
I mean,
mine did when I saw my wife. It
I
is
mean,
all
people
time
get
true.
shot in vests every day. Their heart doesn't stop.
Like I was telling you guys before, that was like the second worst answer he could have possibly given.
It was. He would have been better off to quickly
But-
say, "We're still trying to figure out
We
what
don't know.
occurred.
We don't know what
We're
occurred.
still looking into it."
That'd been an awesome answer.
We don't know exactly what.
I
Like
will
I still
bet
have
you-
testing.
I bet you PR coached him on it, and their point of view was act like it's really emotional and you don't want to talk about it. But that's not how it came across.
what we do know is if it
That's not
does
how
have
it
anything
goes.
to do with the shot, we'll never.
We'll
told
never
that.
know.
Yeah.
There's been a couple deaths too. There was like a goalie on a Belgian footballer. Arne Espel dies while playing in the middle of a game.
Now,
Collapsed on a pitch.
now, Jamie, didn't you recently send something out about Thailand talking about possibly outlawing the vaccine in Thailand?
Yeah, my brother sent me some. Yeah,
I don't remember seeing that.
the
Yeah,
that's
he did.
interesting.
the
Jamie did
prince,
send
the
that.
princess was a princess. Yeah,
The
princess of
princess,
Thailand.
She was like 40 years old though.
Yeah, she
So,
went into a coma, and the doctors came out and said, "Oh, it's
a bacterial
a
infection.
bacterial infection." Well, she never recovered, and now they've crawfished and basically said it was because of the shot.
I wonder how many of these people got the shot and then were required to get boosters like every 3 months or
Look,
you know what I'm saying? So they may have had the shot 6, 7, 8, 9 times in a 2-3 year window.
you guys ever watch poker?
Yeah, it used to. Back in the day, it was big on ESPN.
I ran across something today. It was a poker player in the middle of a game that was going on about how, because they were trying to edit it out, but it was live, and he was going on about having taken the shots and how his chest has basically hurt nonstop since he's gotten the shot, and he wished he had never gotten it. And there's this whole, like, part of me wishes I hadn't gotten a shot. I don't know if any side effects I've had, but we just don't know what we don't know.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, we all know why I got it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
It makes sense. There's reasons to get it, but like Jamie was saying, even the guy who created the mRNA vaccine said for some people it probably won't affect. It's the fact that it's how fast your body metabolizes the mRNA itself.
Yes,
It-
Dr.
it-
Robert Malone.
It
Yeah.
pushes it out at some point.
See, homeless
yeah.
people like you, Gary, probably have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, us
Unhomed.
unhomed people are immune to vaccines.
I think it's just you people that can grow beards. It'd probably kill y'all.
Yeah.
Those folks that grew up in the Earl Parking area, we probably got.
We're good to go,
Yeah.
bro. We're good.
Yeah, our drinking water had worse crap in the back. We probably had the Marsburg virus, the COVID-12.
I saw a mouse run across
And
J.D.
the
Rogers'
birthday.
birthday cake. We're
Oh,
good to
we've
go.
got to tell that story on there. You know what?
We just did.
No, that's even better though. When we
Basically,
did that.
No, yeah,
basically
yeah,
we
no.
told the story.
Yeah, no, there.
It's a funny story.
That is a great story. Maybe it's great at a time. All right, what else y'all got for tonight?
I don't know.
I think that's
That
it.
sounds pretty,
All right,
pretty solid.
Fortenberry, parting words.
Hey, next week is gonna be a really, really big episode. It's worth listening to. If you're a teacher, if you hate teachers, listen.
Hey, if somebody wants to call in, we'd gladly take call-ins. Gary, what's your parting words?
Take everything with a grain of salt and question everything. There you go.
You're not going to finish with
Hey,
your
you
tip?
say that. You say the same three
I
lines.
Sorry.
He's like a fortune cookie.
My
I'm a
boy
fortune
sticks
cookie.
to what he believes.
He's like a
That's what I
fortune cookie.
believe.
That's what he believes.
What do you mean to say, Jamie?
DW, what's your parting word for tonight?
I'm going to New Orleans next weekend, and
I'm
I
going to
vow
Dallas- I'm
and I
going to Dallas
vow
next
not to get lost like Jamie.
I'm going to Dallas next weekend.
You gonna get
So for
lost
me,
in
look.
Hey, Jamie does Dallas.
Look, there's a lot going on in the world. Go find out for yourself. Don't just believe what the talking heads say on TV or YouTube unless you want to believe us. We're going to do our best to tell you what's going on. Go hit the like button and like us. Watch us on YouTube. Find us everywhere. But look out for yourself. Look out for them aliens.
New Orleans, you can find us on them scannable stickers I'm about to put out.
That's right. I'm have all over Dallas.
Do it.
I'm living in the clouds and I ain't gonna fall. Somebody done saved this outlaw.